Don't be saying that kind of stuff. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to, yes. Oh, yes.
It is really good to welcome our young men.
Oh,
here
thank you,
today.
Steve. Yes, absolutely. Jeremy and Charles, thanks for coming, guys. Welcome. Yeah, absolutely. And bring 2 or 3 of your friends next month, and then we'll start a revolution. How's that? That'd be good. One of the things that we did on Wednesday night, Charles, you might be able to help me out with this. Remember when were you there when we did the song, I Have Decided to Follow Jesus? And we walked in the circle? Or had you not gotten here yet? I don't think you'd gotten here yet. Well, one of my favorite songs is I Have Decided to Follow Jesus. And I'm so thankful that when I follow Jesus, I do it one step at a time, one day at a time, and my only focus is following Him, okay? Because if I follow Him, people are going to follow me, okay? If my focus is telling somebody else, hey, follow me, it usually doesn't work very good, does it? Usually it's just kind of, you just follow Jesus, and if you follow Jesus and give Him everything, people are going to follow you. Because they're going to see something's different about you, okay? So I'd like to sing a couple choruses of that song because it's so cool. So let's sing that. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. The world behind me, the cross before me. The world behind me, the cross before me. The world behind me, the cross before me. No turning back, no turning back. Though none go with me, still I will follow. Though none go with me, still I will follow. Though none go with me, still I will follow. No turning back, no turning back. So today I wanted to look in Colossians, and Colossians chapter 2. There's some very interesting things that kind of go along with what we've been talking about here, is the whole idea of the difference between following Jesus and following the philosophies and the ideas of this world. And I actually want to focus in Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. It says, "Beware lest anyone cheat you through philosophy and empty deceit, according to the tradition of men, according to the basic principles of the world, and not according to Christ." So what I'd like you guys to do is think for a little bit, and we've kind of talked about this before, but we're coming at it from a little bit of a different angle. But what are the traditions of men and the philosophies of this world that so easily slide into our lives and in the life of the church? And I'm going to say a few, and then maybe I'll prime the pump and somebody can call out some other ones. Have you ever heard the phrase, God helps those who ask to help themselves? Is that in the Bible? No. Not in the Bible at all.
I think it's in the Old Testament, isn't it?
No. It's not anywhere in the Bible. God helps those who help themselves is not in the Bible. God helps those who ask for help. Big difference. God helping those who help themselves means I do my part, do my best, and then God meets me, and then He helps me. God helping those who ask for help is when I'm honest with God and I say, God, I can't even do my best. I can't even do this much. I can't even do anything to be saved. That's why I need to receive what you did by sending your Son to die on the cross for my sins. Okay? So that's one. The other one that, now I need to ask the Lord to help me to remember. There was a couple others that came to my mind.
Money
But that's,
is the root of all evil.
yeah, very good. That's
how
good.
it's quoted.
Yeah, it's quoted as money is the root of all evil, as opposed to it's actually the love of money, which is the root of all evil. Thank you, John. That's another one. But sticking to the money motif, how many times do we think and define success in this world by how much money you make, or your higher education, or what your career is, or any of those things? We don't say it enough, and we have to constantly have a balance there. But it's like, like when we're talking to young people, thinking of Charles and Jeremy here, who I made the mistake of calling Andrew earlier, but he graciously forgave me for me being old. But it's this unspoken thing that this is another one that kind of fits with that. Numbers is more important than individual people following Jesus. We keep track of attendance here at church. We keep track of the offering. If we have 250 here on Sunday, is that somehow more significant if we have 3? I believe Jesus said, what? The shepherd, what?
Oh, where 1 or 2 are gathered.
Jesus said where 2 or 3 are gathered, absolutely. But then what about the parable of the lost sheep? Jesus had 99 in the fold. He had them all. The shepherd had them all. But what did the shepherd do? The shepherd went to find the one. And see, when my life changed is when I realized that if I was the only person on this planet, Jesus would still have come and died for my sin. Suddenly it becomes very personal. It becomes very joyful.
Spiritual growth is something we can see, we can sense, we can feel, but it's very difficult to quantify.
Uh-huh.
And our cultures in the reporting game and quantifying.
Exactly. Yep.
And I don't know, maybe the pastors are probably trained a little better at quantifying spiritual growth, but you're going about. You hear we don't feel like our church is growing, numbers-wise.
Yeah.
But if it's growing spiritually, spiritual growth, that's what you want.
Absolutely.
And we want both, right?
Yeah. We want numbers, but we want to grow deep and wide, not just wide. Yeah. Yeah. And even just what you said, Steve, when you talk about spiritual growth, I mean, I remember when I was growing up, when I would come downstairs, I would see my dad reading his Bible. Okay? And that impacted me in a huge way. But sometimes it impacted me negatively. Because in my mind, I thought spiritual growth means every morning, 6 a.m., I'm sitting down and I'm reading my Bible. But if I'm sitting down at 6 a.m. and reading my Bible because I want other people to see me reading my Bible so they think, oh, he's growing spiritually, am I really growing spiritually? No. And now we have dovetailed exactly right to where our text takes us. Because see what it says. Don't let anybody cheat you by these basic principles, which so easily focus on externals instead of internals. See, my Bible says, man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks on the heart. I'm so thankful that God is constantly looking on the heart. It's the same thing with whether we know where somebody is saved or not. That's another thing. It's like, oh, I know so-and-so is saved. I don't know anybody that's saved because I don't know what anybody's hearts. And I shouldn't know who's saved and who isn't saved because I'm not God, and God does know people's hearts. So when I go to a funeral or wherever, I don't sit and go, oh, it would have been nice if they had been saved or not. I don't worry about that at all because God knows, right? Another one that we struggle with is codependency in various ways. It's like, it's like the way that those who we love behave reflects on me. That's another basic principle that we struggle with, right? If my wife says something really embarrassing, then somehow that means I'm not as good of a husband. No. My wife's an adult. She's responsible to God for what she says, not to me. And really learning to say, you know what, that's okay. That's a big one that I've had to work on. So, notice what it says in verse 9 of Colossians 2. It says, for in him, we're talking about Jesus, it says, it just talked about basic principles of the world, not according to Christ. But then it says, in him, of course we're talking about Christ, in him dwells all the fullness of the Godhead bodily. Wow. Paul is being very firm there. And then he says, and you, what? Are complete because of all of the good things you do. Oh, no. It says, you are complete in him, who is the head of all principality and power. So if you have invited Jesus Christ to invade your life, I'll say that again. If you have invited Jesus Christ to invade every part of your life, you have that same person who is the fullness of the Godhead bodily inside you. And he is the head, and he is head over all principality and power. So that means he's head over all of the other things in your life that are trying to say, hey, go here, think about this, do this. This makes you valuable. This makes you somebody. Jesus is head over all of that. And what ends up happening is we learn to be a follower of Jesus, and we say, you know what? Jesus, I will do what you want me to do, wherever you want me to do it, whenever you want me to do it. I'll say what you want me to say, whenever. Sometimes people are going to like it, sometimes they're not, but I don't care. I'm going to still follow you. And when I blow it, which happens very often, I'm going to continue to appropriate the grace of God for myself. Right? Be thankful that his blood covers me from all unrighteousness, and then I'm going to get back up and keep moving forward. That is what God is calling us all to do. In verse 11 it says, in him you were also circumcised with a circumcision without hands, putting off of the body, and so on, buried with him in baptism, and so on. I don't have time to go into the rest there. But he goes through and just breaks down all of the things that Jesus Christ has done for us. But then in verse 14, I love where it says, he has, verse 13, and you being dead in your trespasses and uncircumcision of the flesh, he made alive together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses. Just what I said. And then I love this, verse 14. Having wiped out the handwriting of the requirements that was against us, which is contrary to us. So Jesus Christ wipes out all of our sin, everything we've done in the past, present, and future. We used to have the cross over there where people had nailed their sins up there. All of those sins that were nailed to that cross are wiped away. I just love that picture. And then in verse 15, having disarmed principalities and powers and made a public spectacle of them, and he triumphed over them in it. I remember when Michael Jordan won his 6th championship, and he triumphed, and he pumped his fists, and he got really fired up. That's exactly what Jesus Christ did for us when he made a way for us